Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Dorma number 19040L. This is what they call a chassis for the M9010 series lock 4 lever. I don't know that there's a different chassis for lever or knob trim. There could be. I'm thinking there's not. I'm going to pull up the service parts and take a look at that. So this is what we would also call a cassette. If you use your imagination, and I suppose if you're old enough, think of a cassette. Okay, I would know this as a mortise cassette. Lock body, they call it a chassis. There you go. This is in particular for the 10 function or 9010. That certainly refers to a passage function, is what it would tell us. What's interesting, though, is the part number is 19040. I probably would have made that 19010. They do want you to indicate whether it's for a knob or a lever. That is interesting. That is very interesting to note. Okay, so indicate that at the time of order, whether it's for a knob or a lever. That will certainly have everything to do with how they pack the springs inside of here. We know that this was a lever lock job because the client ordered some LTA trim. Exterior handles, exterior levers with an LTA lever with an A rose. So we knew that that was indeed the case. So not a real big deal there at all. Typical mortise lock body, passage function. This is going to be your typical 8-inch by 1.25" would be the net result prep in the door. This, of course, is going to be the shell of other functions. There would be no cylinder involved. There would be no thumb turns involved. Just the trim itself. Overall height of the chassis, about 5 3/4. Overall depth of the body itself, about 4 1/8. From the underside of the faceplate, well, I should say the mounting plate, I suppose, about 4 inch. Over this would go the armor front. An armor front is literally a piece of hardware that's applied to the front of this, and that will not only give you the ability to give a finished look to the edge of the door, but it will also conceal the inner workings of everything here. If you looked at a mortise lock that was manufactured in 1910, you would have seen mortise lock bodies, maybe even before that, maybe the last 20 plus years of the 19th century, you would have seen mortise locks that would have had a provision to add an armor front to it. You would have seen mortise locks that would have had just a single thick piece of material on the outside here, and that it would have been prepped for whatever else was needed inside of here. Access for these, there isn't one here, but there would be a prep for a screw here to hold the cylinder in. So you would have had both designs. I'm not familiar. There are probably some import locks that mimic that design from the 19th century, the early 20th century, but all modern locks that I can think of, mortise locks, are going to have an armor front, an additional plate that gets put onto here, okay? And that's not included with this. You won't get any screws, you won't get the armor front or the 2 screws. You have to indicate the handing. If you want to, you can very easily reverse this, and reversing instructions are on the cassette itself. Okay, so the way that this works is there is a set screw here, and you will loosen that, and you will be able to pull that out, turn it over, put it back in, then run that set screw back in. You know, you could probably remove the whole case and flip the whole thing over, but this design is not meant for the cover to have to come off at all, so it's done right there, and those reversing instructions are literally on the paperwork. I would very much recommend that you just order it the right hand or the hand that you need. It'll save you the trouble. So right now, this is either going to be for a right-hand door, or it's going to be for a left-hand reverse door. It'll work for either door, but if you needed to do a left hand, okay, you got the wrong stuff. So be mindful of that. You'll have to flip it over. This client absolutely ordered it the proper hand, which, the factory has to hand them any which way you look at it. So might as well just have them do it the way you want. Now, there is some information down below this video, some links, and let's take a look at those right now. Now, that information down below will give you this. Okay. While it's not there now, there will be a drop down here for, oh no, you know what, forgive me. It's the L in the part number that is telling us that it's for a lever. We already have it segregated by knobs and lever in the site, so if you see an L, it will be a lever. And here's the instructions from the manufacturer. Specify L or K and the handing. Armor front not included. Typical Dorma, they lay out how they want you to order it, and right there it is. Okay. Looks like a lot of information, but it's really not. It does give the factory everything that they'll need to know to get it organized properly for you. What is handy is going to be they say Locks Manual. That's really a product brochure. And what's great about that is that it is an overview of all things Dorma lock related. And in typical Dorma fashion, they will always give us a legend by which to order the material to. Okay? Dorma does a great job. All hardware manufacturers have this concept, but not all of them are as elegant as others, and Dorma is definitely at the top of the list, where they will allow you to look at dissect the part number, and look at only those options. So what trim do you want to deal with? Select only from this. Now you then can scroll through the catalog to view what those options actually mean, but Dorma does a great job at laying that out. Not everyone are as nearly as organized as Dorma is, and I understand why. You've got lock companies in business for 100 years or a lot longer than that, and they've gone so far with their catalog, and they would need a total overhaul in some instances. So the product catalog will give you an overview of the entire system. You might be interested to say, with occupancy indicators, which are very, very popular nowadays, not only on the outside of the door, but on the inside as well, believe it or not. People want to know on the inside the state of that lock. Okay, now maybe not in a bathroom, but in a classroom, you're seeing that creep up as well. Then we have the installation instructions, and that's handy. This is just an overview of all the details. That changing of the latch bolt position is down on the last page. If reading that decal that was wrapped around the end of the lock case was a bit tough, it's all right here. And that's that set screw that we're talking about right here. 5/32 is what they're going to be looking for on that. I would have guessed it to be smaller than that. Looks about right, though. So this document is also very handy. Then, finally, there's this link here, which will take us to the manufacturer's page, and let's talk about that. At the very end, that link to the manufacturer's page will allow you to review not only all of the Dorma products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog, and several other documents that are there. Prior versions of catalogs, encyclopedic documents, anything important to the world of Dorma, that's where we're going to put it. There is material there on their glass division, handles that you'll see, hardware when it comes to their glass doors, which we are not necessarily directly associated with the factory. In that regard, they take commercial hardware and they take their glass division and their automatic door division, and that's all separated. We're clearly in the builder's hardware department, but we can certainly occasionally help with the glass material handles, patch fittings, things of that nature we can sometimes help with. I am quite partial to Dorma, and I do wish that I did more business with them. You can buy a mortise lock from anybody, anyone you want. What separates? Well, in my experience with Dorma is their technical support. There's a particular person at the factory who is 3 Ps, prompt, predictable, professional. This gentleman nails it every single time, and I look for opportunities to leverage that relationship because I know I can depend on them is the bottom line, and they do a great job at it. They're not alone when it comes to doing great jobs, but again, I say, you can buy a mortise lock from anyone. Why would you buy this one? That's as much a part of the equation as anything else. Very good customer service, exceptional technical support. you have any questions on the Dorma 19040L cassette chassis lock body for a passage function Dorma mortise lock or any other Dorma product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.